father wants to be a great man. We all want to be great, like some of the kings in Israel, like King David and King Solomon and King Jehoshaphat and King Josiah. These are some great kings. Hezekiah and Samuel, great prophet. All of these great men have in common Adam, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Samuel, David, Solomon, Jehoshaphat, Asa. What did all of these great men have in common? All great men, all godly, all love the Lord, all sons and followers of God, absolutely right. But, sadly, all of them had bad children. All of them had children that were wicked. They're all fathers, and they're all bad fathers. Okay? Now that's a bit of a contradiction there. How can they be a great man, but a bad father? But you look at Adam, he had Cain, bad kid, right? Murderer. Noah had Ham, bad son. Samuel had two sons that were bad. And Jehoshaphat, his son was Jehoram, a bad king. And Josiah, he had two sons that were king, both bad. Jehoahaz and Jehoiakim. Samuel, his kids were bad. David's kids were bad. Solomon's kids were bad. Rehoboam. All of these were great men. Some of them were very great men. And all of them were bad fathers. Now, if you could ask any of them, if you could go to Samuel or if you could go to David and say, hey, David, what's more important to you, to be a great man, and they all were great men, or would you prefer to be a good dad? A good dad versus a great man. Now, ladies, I'll let you know a little secret about men. We all want to be great. All right? We wake up in the morning, we think, how can we be a great person today? We want to be great. We don't want to be good. We don't want to be average. We don't want to be okay. We don't want to be medium or moderate. We want to be great. And some of us have succeeded. People like David succeeded in being a great man and failed as a father. So if we could ask them, what's more important to you, King David? What would you want to be? Where did you fail? Where would you wish you had succeeded? And we're going to find the answer to that question in 2 Samuel chapter 18. 2 Samuel chapter 18. It says in 2 Samuel chapter 18, the background is, we know that David had a few wives, not like 1,000 like Solomon, but he had a few wives. And I don't remember how many wives David had. 14, 17, 7, something like that. He had quite a few children, obviously, with that many wives. And we know a few of his children, like Solomon, and another one of his children is named Absalom. Now, Absalom was a bad boy. All right, Absalom murdered one of his stepbrothers, although it was kind of a justified killing. It was really something that David should have done. And because of his failure, Absalom had to do it. And Absalom later saw the weakness, and he said, you know what, my dad, David, is a great guy. He's a great king. He's a man after God's own heart. He loves the Lord, but he's kind of a lousy dad. All right, basically what happened was David had a son, and he allowed that son to violate one of his stepsisters. Okay, violate in a bad way. And that stepsister had a brother named Absalom. Okay, another one of David's sons. And Absalom said, hey, David, Dad, what are you going to do? You're going to let this one of my stepbrothers violate my sister like this? You can't let him get away with that. And David said, you know, fathering's not really my thing. I'm not really a good dad. I'm more of a great king, more of a great general. And he failed as a father. And Absalom didn't like that. And so long story short, feels like it's already been a long time. Absalom rebelled against his father. And he decided that he was going to kill his dad. All right, doesn't sound like a very good son to me, does it? He wants to kill his dad. He started a rebellion, and the rebellion was strong against David, his father. And David had to flee for his life. He had to go run and hide from his own son. And so Absalom comes to the throne, does some wicked acts against David and his house. And now David's hiding in the woods. And Absalom says, I'm going to get an army, and we're going to go attack David, and we're going to beat him. So they have this big battle that happens in the woods. It says in 2 Kings chapter 18, verse number 5, and the king commanded Joab, that's David's general, David is the king, he's talking, and Abishai and Ittai, saying, deal gently for my sake with the young man. That would be Absalom, even with Absalom. And all the people heard when the king gave all the captains charge concerning Absalom. So David's instructions were, do not kill Absalom, leave him alone, deal kindly with him. All right, now we could see this as a pattern in David's life, that he did not discipline his children because he was a lousy, terrible father. He was a bad dad. He was a great king, a great man. He was a lousy dad, a bad dad. All right? And anyway, they had that war in the woods. Verse number 8 or 6. So the people went into the field against Israel and the in the wood of Ephraim, where the people of Israel were slain before the servants of David. So David fought in the battle, David's soldiers winning. And there was there a great slaughter that day of 20,000 men, for the battle was there scattered over the face of all the country. And the wood devoured more people that day than the sword devoured. So more people ran trying to ride a horse through the woods than actually died from the sword. And 20,000 people died. And Absalom met the servants of David. And Absalom rode upon a mule. And the mule, that would be a donkey, went under the oak, went under the thick boughs, that's the branches, of a great oak, and his head caught hold of the oak. And he was taken up between the heaven and the earth. And the mule that was under him went away. So there's Absalom. He's trying to kill his dad, and in trying to kill his own father, he's riding a donkey through the woods, and he gets stuck in a tree. Stuck by his hair. He has really long hair. Okay? The Bible says it is a shame for a man to have long hair. Okay? It says, doth not even nature itself teach you that a woman should have long hair? Okay? Not a man. That's a shame. The Bible says men should have short hair. Women should have long hair. Jesus did not have long hair. Jesus had short hair. All right? But I don't think that Absalom cared what God thought about anything in his life, let alone his hair. And a certain man saw it and told Joab, and said, I saw Absalom hanged in an oak. And Joab said to that man, and Joab said unto the man that told him, and behold, thou sawest him, and why didst thou not smite him there to the ground? And I would have given thee 10 shekels of silver and a girdle. So Joab said, hey, you saw Absalom. He's stuck in a tree. Why is he still alive? You should have killed him. But remember the commandment that David gave, if you see my son Absalom, deal kindly with him. And the man said unto Joab, though I should receive 1,000 shekels of silver in mine hand, yet would I not put forth mine hand against the king's son. For in our hearing the king charged thee and Abishai and Ittai, saying, behold, that none touch the young man Absalom. This is the problem with David. This is the problem with him as his father. This is David's problem with fatherhood. And that is, there was a man that saw Absalom and what he was doing. Absalom was a traitor, committed treason, he's worthy of death, he was a murderer, and is in the process of getting him and 20 other people killed. Wicked guy. Some people, sadly, need killing. Absalom was that guy. Bad guy. And when it came time, and the law was issued forth by the general, Joab, if you see him, kill him. It's a legal kill. It's not murder. It's okay. It's a justified killing. And this guy says, there's no way, not for 1,000 or 100 shekels of silver, no way will I go in and kill this guy Absalom. Why? Because, not because he's a good guy, not because he doesn't need to be killing, not because he doesn't deserve it, because he is the son of King David. Now, remember this. David had a problem with disciplining his children. David should have said, hey, look, guys, if my children are doing something wrong, help me and deliver to them discipline that they need. But everyone knew that David was not really love his children. The Bible says, he that spareth the rod hateth his son. That means if you don't spank your children and if you don't discipline your children, that is hatred. It's not love. It's not love to see your child do something wrong and to go to your child and ignore what they've done as wrong and don't discipline. That's hatred, the Bible says. David showed hatred toward his son in that he did not discipline them. All right? Like I said, great man, a great king, did a great job for Israel and for his soldiers, but he did not discipline his children, and that made him a hateful father. He failed as a father. What was more important to him? Well, at the end of the chapter, this guy Cushai comes and he tells the king what happened. So let's just read verse 32 and 33. And the king said unto Cushai, Is the young man Absalom safe? Cushai here, he's the delivery boy, he's the messenger. And Cushai answered, The enemies of my lord, the king, and all that rise against thee to do thee hurt, be as that young man is. Okay, what does that mean? That means he said, Absalom is dead, and anyone else who would commit treason against you, O king, may they join Absalom in death. So the king finds out his son Absalom was dead. And the king was much moved, and went up to the chamber over the gate, and wept. And as he went, thus he said, O my son Absalom, my son Absalom, would God I had died for thee, O Absalom, my son, my son. David had just won a victory, a military victory. Defeated his enemies. He now gets to go back and continue his reign as king over Israel. And when they told him, David, as a king, you've done something great. As a leader of this people, you've done something great. You've put down the rebellion. You've won a great victory today. You get to go back to being king. And David says, I wish I was dead. I would rather die than to see my son Absalom killed. And that's the answer to the question. What would David rather be, a great king, a great man, or a good dad? And David said, I would give it all up. I would give all this greatness and all this throne that Michael Sheen likes to sit upon, his great throne. I would give it up if I could just be a good dad. I would die for my son Absalom. How do we be a good dad? Well, we learn the lessons from David, and that is we need to discipline our children according to the biblical method of disciplining. Okay, that's not grounding. That's not raising your voice. It's not hitting with your hand. It's taking a rod or a stick or a belt, in my case, and you administer discipline in a loving way to your children so that they do not become like Absalom. All right? And also, what is it that a dad can give to his children? Okay? What can a dad give to his children? What do children really need from their dad? What does a child really need from their father? Leadership. No. What a child really needs from their father is their father to set a good example. Still not. It's a great education. A college education. Nope, that's not it either. What does every child need from a dad? And this is the difference between a good dad and a bad dad. David was a bad dad. Good general, great king, bad dad. What's the difference between a good dad and a terrible dad? And the answer is in one word. And the answer is the gospel. All right? It makes you a good dad if you can give your children the gospel and your children get saved. Because then God becomes their heavenly father. You've done a good job for them as a father. If your child is poor, if your child dies at a young age, if your child does not get a good education, if your child does not get an inheritance, your child does not get a good house to live in, or your child is has enough money to go to the doctor doesn't mean you're a bad dad. What makes you a bad dad is if you do not give your child the gospel. If you want your child to go to heaven with you, if you want to be a good dad, and we all do, men, we want to be a good dad. We want to be great men, but more important than being a great man is that we be a good dad. And to be a good dad, you need to give your children the gospel. All right? If you can't give your children the gospel, if they can't get saved because of you, I'm sorry to say this, but David would agree that as David is in heaven right now, and Absalom right now, his son, burns in hell this very moment, David would say, oh, if I could do it again, if I could go back and live my life again, I would forget about the kingship, forget about the throne, forget about the battles. I just want to be remembered as a good dad. And there he failed. And he says, I wish my life was over. I wish I was dead than to be a bad dad. All right, so fathers, here's what we could do for Father's Day. Give your children the gospel, and you're a good dad. And help other people, other dads out there that are not good dads, that do not give their children the gospel. Help them to be a good dad. People come to and ask you about advice. How do you raise your children? How do you provide for them? How do you, make sure you have enough money or savings or for college education or whatever? Tell them, zip. Don't worry about that. What we need to tell dads is this. They need to give their children the gospel. And without that, doesn't matter if you make your kids rich. Bill Gates' kids or Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world, his kids have nothing. They've given nothing compared to my kids. And some of you fathers listening, because my kids and some of you fathers listening, your kids have the gospel. They're going to be saved. What's going to happen to Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos? What's going to happen to those kids? They'll live the life of billionaires. Maybe they'll live longer than our kids and live a safer life than our kids and have more things in their life than our kids. But when that life is over, where will their kids spend eternity? Will it be heaven or hell? The answer, a lot of that, is up to you, to their father. If the kid doesn't have a good dad, is he going to get saved in his life? Probably not. Probably not. Be a good dad. Give your kids the gospel. Help other dads to be good. Help them to give their children the gospel as well. So we don't need to cry like David and said, I wish I was dead. I'd rather be dead than be alive. Don't worry about being a great man, guys. It's Father's Day. Don't worry about being the greatest provider for your children, giving your children everything. Just be this. Be a good dad. Give your kids the gospel.